So Joe Biden is off the ticket. He was never actually on the ticket. He was the presumptive nominee for the Democratic Party. Now, Kamala Harris's name is very much at the top of the list because Joe Biden has endorsed her, and now a whole swathe of Democrats coming out and endorsing her. And would you believe that Act Blue, just in the last 7 hours, or their first 7 hours, I should say, have raised $38 million off the back of the news that Joe Biden is stepping aside and Kamala Harris may take the top spot. Very interesting times, a huge pivot for American politics, and something that I think it is our responsibility to keep up with. And whilst, of course, we all feel sadness for the fact that Joe Biden has made this very selfless decision, it proves that he is not a cult leader. It proves that he's not an egomaniac. It proves that it was not all about him, as it is with Donald Trump and the other side. It is about democracy. It is about this moment in history where the U.S. makes that decision. Does it want to go down the route of following an old 78-year-old despot with a personality disorder, malignant narcissism, who himself can't get his words straight, is always getting people confused, names and words and weirdness, and has been observed as having clinical dementia? Is it that guy? Or is it Kamala Harris, the first female vice president, first person of color as vice president, and let's combine those and see if she can be the president of the United States. It's certainly something that I think America is ready for. I don't believe the U.S. is as racist and chauvinist as people like to think it is. I'd like to think that things have changed, and this could be that moment in history where America rises to the occasion. Of course, it's not about the corporate media swaying you, writing the certain stories that they do, as they have done with Joe Biden, trying to muddy the waters or trying to confuse the issues. It's about individuals. It's about you as a voter. It's about Democrats, of course, but also undecided and independents, and also all of those Republicans who are never Trumpers. That is a huge amount of people who simply cannot vote for Donald Trump because, aside from the earlier list, he's a convicted felon. He's an insurrectionist. He tried to overturn the election. He lied about the election being fraudulent. He stole classified documents and then lied about giving them back and then shared them. He is a proponent of our foes, such as Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping and Kim Jong-un. Those are the people he associates with. He's a guy who wants military parades and is obsessed with his own strength, even though he is the biggest coward in the country. So really, to me, it's not a difficult decision to make. And right now, as we speak, the MAGA fraternity are going crazy at this news. They're furious that Joe Biden has stepped down. They're very upset at the fact that they've spent all this money campaigning against Joe Biden, and now he's not going to be doing it. And they're like, what? Joe Biden, as I said at the beginning, was never the candidate. He was the presumptive candidate. The Democrats have not had their convention yet, and when they do, they will nominate their candidates. And so it's a very interesting time for the Democrats now to put their heads together and decide how they want to win this election, because the Democrats will win. It's a certainty. You know, Donald Trump is not a popular candidate. He's like a joke character. He's like a court jester or a circus clown. He's not a serious person. He doesn't know anything about the country. He doesn't know how it works. Doesn't understand international trade or diplomacy. He has really no knowledge of industry or the jobs that regular people do. No idea. He thinks you need to show ID to buy groceries. So I really don't think that Donald Trump is a threat to this particular race, provided that everybody goes out to vote. And that's what's really important. You know, let Donald Trump think that he's got this in the bag because he's surrounded by sycophants and MAGA fans and these fake events where they pay people to be there to tell him how wonderful he is. But that is not the reality for the whole country. You know, America is full of thoughtful, liberal-minded, progressive thinkers, people who believe that women should have rights to do whatever they choose with their own bodies and not have old white men decide for them. And that is obviously the hot-button issue going into this election. Kamala Harris has been fighting for women's health care for the last 3.5 years that she's been vice president. It's something that she is very serious about, and it's something that she is very much going to fly the flag for if she is the Democratic nominee. And with that, I think that she is a very ideal candidate for this moment in history. After Roe was overturned, after 50 years of precedent, to have someone like Kamala Harris to stand up for women and for women's rights, I think is a great moment and something we should be proud of. And so let the MAGAs go crazy over this. They've lost Dark Brandon. They've lost all of that, you know, that rhetoric that they had, that image of Biden gagged and bound that we saw on the back of that truck and all that crazy stuff. And they've spent money on merchandise, and fine. You know, I'm done with all that, and I'm sure you are too. We're going to have to brace ourselves for a lot of criticism coming from the right about Kamala Harris, but remind yourself that she is an excellent candidate, a highly skilled person, both as a former district attorney, also as a senior prosecutor, but also as somebody who themselves has achieved the high office of vice president as a female and also a person of color. Very difficult thing to do in America, and yet she has done it. Of course, she deserves the presidency. So it's time to open your mind, be thoughtful about the future for this country, and choose democracy over dictatorship. I'm Anthony Davis. You can catch me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.